You gotta love those breakdowns, right? Well, welcome back to another episode of the Backlog Breakdown. This is a video game podcast where we seek to encourage and equip the church to engage the medium of video games wisely and responsibly. I'm one of your hosts, Josh, and with me today is my regular co-host, my brother in Christ, my friend, my buddy, Nate.
My buddy and me. Oh man,
I'm not even sure what that is, but that's I assume that's I
think I did
Sesame Street or something
poorly, but there is a doll. I think I did the jingle poorly, but there was a doll back in the 80s called My Buddy.
Gotcha.
And,
nice.
That was like the jingle for it.
Okay. Like it did ring a bell, but I wasn't sure if it was just like I don't know. It sounded like it could have also been Bert and Ernie, you know?
I mean, I was kind of singing it in a very Muppety kind of way.
Yes. You sang it like a Muppety man. Anyways.
Am I a man or am I a Muppet?
I really like that movie. That's a good movie.
Dude, I was like, as a non-ironic take, I heard somebody actually say they really liked the 2015 version of The Muppet Show. And I was like, you know what? Okay. I actually think I like that show too. Like unironically. Okay. Like I'm not saying it was great. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember much of it. Like it could be like one of the those things if I go back and I watch it again and be like, oh no, I hate this. It's awful. Why did I say that? But I remember liking it and it just like, the Muppets are great.
Nice. Yeah.
That movie
it's a good time.
The most recent Muppet movie was actually a lot of fun.
Yeah. Loved that one. The sequel I was disappointed by, although I've gone back and watched it multiple times. What is it? Muppets Most Wanted. I've seen it multiple times with my kids, and it has gotten better, but it's still nowhere near as good as that one, as the Muppets. But anyways, we are not here to talk about Muppets. We're here to talk about the top 10 video games as congregated is not the right word. Aggregated, I think that's the word. As aggregated by all of our listeners out there, our patrons, the people who have submitted to us their top 10s. We've collated. That's another word that I think fits there, but it might not.
Collation, I think, is the appropriate term.
Okay, awesome. And so these games have coagulated to the top, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. Before we get there, I don't
like that,
though. I don't like that either. I don't like that at all. But how have you been, Nate? It has been a little bit since we've recorded last. So what you been
I was
up to?
Doing fine up until you used coagulation. And then you made it worse. You compounded you added salt to the wound, insult to injury, when you did not ask me how it's been since we last spoke.
Yes.
Or you actually kind of skipped past the fact that it's been an undisclosed amount of time since we last spoke.
That's true. That's true. The time has been undisclosed.
You have those two options there, and you're just like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing it.
Yeah. I probably do one of these days need to just resign myself to doing that, because so many of the rest of the other jingles of the show, I feel like I've had a much heavier hand in.
Dude, and
so this is yours.
You do have the soundboard.
This is yours. Yeah.
So you are the one who controls the soundboard.
Okay. You know what? You win it at least for this episode. So it has been an undisclosed amount of time since the last time we spoke. So how has it been?
It's fine, dude. It's kind of like one of those things where we had some really great weather. It was like shirts, short sleeves, shorts, kind of like, and then the last couple of days it's gotten cold and windy again. So that's been super fun. And It's supposed to snow next week, so I'm just like, I'm super excited about that.
Yeah.
As long as it's not a lot. We actually had like a quarter of an inch, I think, yesterday. But by the end of the day, it was like it melted. But just kind of, we're just kind of vibing.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, we've had some crazy weather as well. Monday was 70 degrees outside this week, so it was nice and warm. And then Wednesday, it snowed off and on all morning. It never by the time it hit the pavement, it melted.
Yeah.
But it would snow, it would stop, it would snow, it would stop, which was just hilarious. From a Texan, that is just absolutely hilarious that there's that much fluctuation. Sunday, I think the high is in the 20s. And then I think by Wednesday, we have another 70-degree day. So it is just all over the place.
Where did I put my phone?
Some crazy stuff.
Because I know this is just amazing radio. This is what people actually tune in for. Right.
Yeah. They want to know how the weather is in PA.
Well, and yeah. So Sunday, yeah, it's a high 50. So Tuesday is a low or a high of 26. Okay. But then, so that looks like the lowest day, but then, yeah, we're supposed to climb back up into the 50s.
Okay. Nice.
Which isn't ideal,
Yeah.
But it's whatever, man.
That's not bad. Yeah.
It's not terrible. Yeah. It's not awesome. Yeah. But
well, you want to hear something else that has not been awesome is one of the things that I've, I don't know, come to the table with. I don't know, that it's been for me over the past undisclosed amount of time.
Are you going to share some experiences?
Not yet.
Well, I mean, you are sharing an experience of sorts.
That's true, but kind of premature to the jingle that must be played. Is that I got the flu. So last episode, I was feeling a little funky. Well, lo and behold, a couple days later, then it hit, and it hit pretty hard. So that pushed back some plans, unfortunately, because I've been busy, been working on a number of different projects, and that ended up pushing some stuff back. One of which was preaching. Actually, I was supposed to preach last Sunday, but instead on Saturday morning, I had to talk with my pastor and be like, "Hey, so I'm struggling pretty badly." And he picked it up. It was great. But anyways, I'll be preaching this Sunday because I was out last Sunday. Now, that does afford a decent amount of video game time, which was nice, which we will talk to when we share some experiences. That's right. And we like to share all kinds of experiences, video games being one of them. But before we get to video games, we like to share just some of the best of what we have been into lately in other forms of media. So some of the forms of media that I have been imbibing lately is one of which is a TV show. I've talked about it before, Star Trek: The Next Generation. I still have not finished it, but I'm on the 5th season. And there are a number of episodes. I wasn't sure how far into the 5th season I was, so I'll just go ahead and start it over. I'm like 20 or so episodes in, and all of these episodes have rung a bell, so I know I'm rewatching some of it. But I want to get through the show. There are a number of other shows. We've even talked about them on the Discord that I should be watching that I have not gotten to yet, particularly sci-fi shows like this. But I want to finish up The Next Generation. So that's the kick that I've been on here for the past week or so, is Star Trek: The Next Generation. The other thing that I have been into, okay, you've got your weeb trash TV shows, right? You come to the table with weeb pretty Japanese cartoons pretty often. Well, I've got a Japanese band, and I believe I have talked about them before on the podcast, but it's been a while. They are called Official Hige Dondism, which roughly translated, it means like really manly mustache or something like that. So that's the name of the band, and I've listened to some of their newer material, and here's the deal. They are a pop band, but they are really good musicians. So there are 2 songs in particular that I'm going to recommend. It's all in Japanese, outside of maybe 1 or 2 words, in English. So I don't know what they're singing about most of the time. But these are just two really good songs. I'd encourage you to listen to, a bunch of the stuff that they have, which is really good. The first one is called Soul Soup. They have a funny music video at a ramen stand, which is good. But I watched a live recording of this song. It's jazzy. It's kind of big band. And man, I was just blown away by the musicianship, including the singer. He plays keyboards, but he also just has a fantastic voice, and it's kind of a complex melody that he's able to sing. But particularly in Soul Soup, like, listen to the bass line. The bassist does not slow down the entire song. It is crazy. So Soul Soup is really good. Another song that is very different, which is more kind of like art rock a la the Arctic Monkeys, if you know them.
Mm-hmm.
There's a song called Make Me Wonder that is it's a bit of an earworm, but it's much more kind of rock sounding. But they have the pre-chorus, it kind of like chills out for a little bit, and it's really good. So anyways, those two songs in general, but we've been, as the Broccolo family, we've been listening to a lot of Higedon lately, and my kids have been asking for it a lot, which again is really funny because 97% of it is in Japanese. There's just an occasional English word here and there. So
they could be saying something like incredibly foul things, and you would have
they could. I mean, I've had closed captioning on some of the YouTube videos, and it's not. I have not seen anything that has been absolutely vile. But so I apologize in advance if there is any of that material there, and you'll find out before I do. I don't know.
Yeah,
but
that's
what I've
fun.
been into.
That sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, they're really good. Their live videos, man, you can see how good of musicians they are. Because of course they do some production trickery in the studio, when you listen to their really produced stuff. But yeah, they're also just really good musicians. So
I'll have to check that out at some point in time. As far as music goes, I don't have anything that I'd recommend. I've been sort of listening to, I do like that band Stop Drop Rewind. They're the ones that like the prog rock emo kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like them. And this is not a recommendation, but recently, so the bassist is also like their front man, and he has like the most ridiculous like bass riffs, like just in like it's so goofy, and I love it. But he kind of freaked out, like, and it's funny, like apparently there was an interview with the CEO of Suno AI, that thing that we use to generate slop, and send stupid songs back and forth to each other occasionally. Anyways, the Suno AI CEO basically said, like, songwriting is kind of boring, and I just want to make it fun for people to write songs again. And I'm like, okay, like whatever. But this guy, the bassist from Stop Drop Rewind, he takes his craft very serious, and he's very good. Like, and he's very much like, and he has this like rant where, and it's like, some of it is like, it's like, oh, my art is precious kind of stuff. But it's also like, he's a craftsman, and he's in a touring band, and like, but he ends the video calling the CEO of, and it just made me laugh because he calls him an effing ding dong. And there was something about like, and again, he's responding to like, things that have been written and stuff like that. But I thought there's a part of me that was just so charmed by that. Where I was like, I love this. The juxtaposition of like,
of the foul and the goofy.
It's like, and it's like, so yeah, but I don't know. There's a band. I don't really recommend them. I've kind of been listening to them. They showed up in my algorithm kind of like unprompted, and they're
Okay.
female led. The band is called South Arcade. I don't
Okay.
know if it's a strong, but I've kind of been listening to them, and they remind me they're really crunchy. They're kind of heavy, but they've got some like rap rock vibes, and it's
Okay.
like I love a good female vocalist, like in a
Sure.
rock band, and she kind of reminds me of. She's got that like late '90s, mid aughts kind of. It's like a little kind of like brat rock almost vocals. I
Okay.
don't know how I would describe it. It's like a little whiny ish kind of little nasally, but not in an entirely unpleasant way. You know what I'm saying? Like it's not
Sure.
like, oh, this sounds stupid enough. Like it's but I think they have a really great sound. They seem younger. I,
Okay.
the quality of their, but it's like I kind of like their sound. They sound nostalgic, even though they're probably like 20 years younger than me. It's like
Yeah.
this sounds like the stuff I was kind of on the radio, like sort of. It's kind of fun, but I want to
Cool.
recommend them. And just like I do think like there's some language,
Gotcha.
in their stuff. So yeah, I've been enjoying, but that's neither here nor there. I did want to sort of Reagan Rose and Redeeming Productivity recently put out an episode. He's been doing this. He's been doing that thing for quite some time. He talked a little bit
Mm-hmm.
about the process that led him to do, because he does it full time now. And so he talked about
Okay.
that process and just sort of becoming a Christian content creator, et cetera. And it's really cool. Yeah, sometimes Josh, I have thought about reaching out to him and seeing like, it's like, I think that would be a really fun, if we could get, that would be a really fun get. Maybe I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
This is, I don't know.
It would be interesting because he has multiple times gone on record about how he used to be addicted to video games. And so in order to become more productive, he gave it up.
I do
So,
think too that he has, I know that earlier on some of his stuff, like I was pretty actively turned off because he was vehemently, like staunchly anti video game.
okay.
And
Okay.
I know that he, like, there has been some stuff where I've listened to him and he's like, I think he's backed off some of that. And
Yep.
again, I think part of it is he recognizes that was a him problem.
Yep.
That,
Yep.
so
Yep.
yeah,
I get that general idea as well. Mm-hmm.
yeah, maybe just rip off an
Ideas.
The
I like
worst, the worst that could happen is he could say, no, thank you.
Sure.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, that would be fun if we could do that.
I agree. Yeah.
Anyways,
It'd be fun crossover.
but yeah, good on him. I have enjoyed his content sporadically. Like I'm not a regular listener or anything, but I do sort of check out his stuff from time to time. And I thought that was really cool. Like him even talking about his process, because he's like, listen, it was a little risky because he had some pretty decent, like good paying work, and he had kind of lined it up. And, it was just really, it was a cool little story. So I recommend that episode.
Nice.
Yeah. I'm still listening to that Super Nintendo book by Keza McDonald. I've got to be honest. I kind of, I don't know, man. And maybe it's just like, it's kind of like, I think it's fine. I think there's a couple things that are making it a little hard for me to keep up on it. It's like, and it's not that it's bad, but it's like, I think Keza's probably a little bit younger than me. And so some of her contexts are like, she'll talk about things in a certain way. And it's like, it's like, I'm just like, yeah, those things don't really resonate, just the way that she feels about like certain Nintendo franchises, et cetera, things like that.
Okay.
I also think like, she kind of dips into the Samus Aran as a girl boss thing and talks about the importance of, and I'm not going to say that's completely like, there's validity there. It also just feels a little like trite. And like, I'm just like, I'm just over culture war crap as a general rule.
Yeah.
And so that just kind of, it's not a bad book. There's some interesting factoids, and like, I think part of it is like you are stepping into somebody else's context. And so what she's doing is she's sort of, there's some exploration of Nintendo as a company, their history, but it's also sort of like interspersed with like her experiences and some of just like yeah. And so I think that's interesting, but it's not as compelling as like, as I'd like, I guess. Pretty much is like, it's not bad. It's just like, it's like, so there's that. I gotta look at my notes here. Yeah. Sometimes I surprise myself with my ability to read. And just kind of talking about it is, Megan and I decided to start watching the Scrubs reboot together. I'm still watching Farscape sort of on my own. I've got a couple other shows I've kind of like, been watching a little bit on my own, but like, as a general rule, I actually really like the Scrubs reboot so far.
Awesome. Nice.
I think it tracks. It kind of just feels like it kind of picks up not where it left off. Like it's sort of like, but it's like the time skip in anime where it's like, the season comes and it's like 10 years later kind of thing. Like, which I think, and it's kind of fun because they've brought some stuff forward in like, like there's a group of new interns and stuff like that. And just sort of seeing how they're navigating all of that stuff is really, I think they've got a pretty good cast. Of course, like some of the key members, some of the key members are still there. So yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
It's pretty good. It's more Scrubs, a little bit older, a little bit wiser, little bit, but just a little bit. Gotcha. It's still got some of that same. It doesn't feel like so far it does not feel like a cash grab. So far it feels like, oh no, like kind of like it's the right time, the right way to revisit that content, that world. So I like it.
Cool.
I think it's kind of,
That's largely what I've heard, and I have not gotten around to watching it because of that it's like, you don't absolutely need to see it, but it is more Scrubs. So I'm going to enjoy it because I like Scrubs.
It's good. Like it's kind of refreshing to me personally, because I just feel like that represents an era of television that frankly, I think we kind of lost, I used to really like TV, like watching, like I had shows that I like to keep up with. And I just feel like a lot of modern programming just leaves a lot to be desired. And maybe that's sort of like the old man yells at clouds thing. Like, I'm just like, it was better back in my day, but it kind of was. Like my music was better. My television was better. My books were better. Sometimes the video games were better. Like, it's just like, no, not all the time, but it's there is a kind of, I'm going to sort of throw air quotes around it because like, if you've watched Scrubs, that there's a lot of, sort of, they almost do it. Yes. And I think it's almost meant to be sort of a jab at like ER and Grey's Anatomy and stuff like that.
For sure.
It's like sort of like taking the, there's that British turn of phrase, taking the piss out of something. So I feel like so there is that, but there's like a wholesomeness to it where it's like, it doesn't feel mean. It doesn't feel jaded. It doesn't feel cynical. It just kind of feels like nice. Like, yeah. So,
yeah. Yep.
Yeah. New season of Scrubs is pretty recommendable. IMO.
Sweet. That's good to know. Well, Nate, we are a video game podcast. And so we haven't yet talked about video games. You mentioned how they were so much better when you were younger. Well, I have not.
I didn't say so much better. I said some of them were better, or that's kind of what I intended. Like in some ways, the games were better. In some ways.
Well, I've been playing a remake of a game that came out when I was younger, and that is Live Alive on Switch is what I've been playing. So this is a game that's split up into, I think 8 different stories, if not 9. I know the 8th is like the secret one that you get after you finish. But there's 7 stories that you can choose from to start out with, and then there's an 8th. I know that much. I don't know what's past that. I have at this point finished 5 of the stories, and so I've got 2 more, and then it unlocks the 8th, and then again, don't know what's after that. So it feels like I am getting towards the end. However, according to How Long to Beat, I'm like maybe halfway through at this point. So I don't know. I don't even know what's coming up next. I love the HD 2D art style. It is just charming. There are some pretty juvenile jokes in the games that are, like there's when you're prehistoric and you can't communicate using words. There are a lot of poop and fart jokes. Like some of the attacks that you have as a caveman are just to fart on enemies.
Do you know why though? Because poop and farts are hilarious.
Yeah, because poop is funny.
As a brief aside, I'm not trying to but Byron loves farting sounds.
But he's
Yeah.
also 3. So
Listen, he's got a highly developed sense of humor, unlike you.
well, and yes, no, I get it, and it's not like in the context that it's in. It's charming, it's funny, it's goofy. Okay, I'm not saying it shouldn't be there. I do think they go a bit overboard on it. That's all that I'm saying.
Little too hard in the paint.
Yeah. But also your best friend is like a gorilla, and so of course it throws its poop, as one of its attacks. So. But it's charming.
Let's just be honest. If a gorilla flung poop at you, you'd be pretty devastated.
Yes, I would run away.
It would be highly effective.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm having a good time with Live Alive. I was hoping to finish it up here soon, but I have not. Here recently, within the past couple days, I haven't had as much game time. But I have put in a decent amount of a good chunk of time so far, and enjoying Live Alive. So I'm excited to see where it goes. I know they add a bit to the very end of the game, which is good because I've heard it's actually the original version. I've heard it's actually really depressing. But I've heard that this alleviates that, but I don't know how. So we'll see. Speaking of games with ambiguous endings, there is a game that I was gifted this past week by one of our patrons. He sent me a care package of things, which included some Final Fantasy Magic cards, a nice little note, and Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade on Switch 2. So this has been added to the backlog, and so I get a +1 for that. I have not yet played it, although I did install it because it's a key card, and it was a 90 gig download. So I'm like, it's going to take a few hours to do it anyway. So I downloaded it, have not played it, but that is going on the backlog, and I will probably be playing that sooner rather than later, dependent on how long this one takes to finish up and scheduling and all that, because we still have a bunch of patron games to play through for this year. I totally understand that, but one of our patrons was cool enough to send me a game, and so that's probably going to hop up to the top of the list here soon. But haven't yet played that. I did also finish a game because it's a very short game. Okay, well, now I was sick. I wanted to play something totally different. I didn't want to keep reading stuff. I was like, I just want to play something dumb. So I popped in the Marvel vs. Capcom collection, and on there is an arcade game called The Punisher. Okay, you can play as either the Punisher himself or Nick Fury, and it's just a beat 'em up. It's just a belt scroller. And I was surprised at how violent this game is. Well, yeah, of course, it's the Punisher. Of course, it's going to be violent. Okay, I understand that. I didn't realize how much like blood and like explosions and shooting people and blood and things like that were going to be happening in this game. There were also a few minor cusses throughout the game. When one boss showed up, and this is a boss that had a tank for a torso, and then the upper body was like humanoid. And he showed up on the screen and he said, "Die in your own blood, baby."
Was
and
this
so I had to get a screen capture of that.
Nintendo era, or
I mean, I assume it was 90s. But it's literally, it was an arcade game. I don't think it had any ports to home consoles, although I could be wrong about that. I think this is the first time it was ported to home consoles. But it's just called The Punisher. And obviously it's animated. But you go through, you finally, you fight Kingpin at the end of the game, and you finish him off. And I would not necessarily recommend it because it was like, there's a way to do hyper violence like Metal Slug that is like kind of charming hyper violence, but this is more hyper violence like trying to be edgy, almost like Mortal Kombat kind of hyper violence. It's not that violent, but it is like, it's kind of trying to show you, oh yeah, we can show blood, and we can, have these character designs that are just like really kind of dirty and gross, and Punisher's going to jump on the scene and grab a gun and shoot through a bunch of guys. Like it feels kind of grimy in a way that I was surprised by.
Yeah, it just looks like I'm kind of looking at screenshots of it now, I think. And yeah, it just kind of, it looks very much of like that 16-bit sort of era.
Standard, yeah. Belt scroller.
Sort of, yeah.
Yep.
I don't know, man. I think this looks kind of cool. But like, that's very much it very much feels like, oh, this is a very, very much a 90s video game.
Yes. Yeah.
Kind of deal.
Big dumb fun. I probably beat it in an hour or whatever it was, because it was an arcade port. Like, you just push select and you get another quarter in the system, kind of a deal. So, anyways, I played through that, and so I did take the -1 point for that. I had a good time with it. It's just not something that I would highly recommend. Like, there's nothing particular about it that makes it better than other arcade games of this era. It's pretty simple. But it was a fun little playthrough that, again, kind of hyper violent. But anyways, -1 for that. I did take a positive point for the Gifted game as well. So I'm still sitting at -5 for the year so far. And that's what those are the experiences of video games that I want to share. Nate, what video game experiences do you have to share?
Sort of just not been doing a whole lot. Somebody, I was on Twitter and I was like, "Hey, do you want a free season pass to Marvel Snap?" And I was just like, "Yeah." It's like, it required a retweet and a like.
Okay.
And so I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll throw my." And I actually got a free season pass for Marvel Snap, which
nice.
I was like, I'm not mad about it. It's like, I didn't spend that money.
Right.
But, so playing some Snap here and there, not really playing much else besides, I had been playing Wo Long with Parker and Deuce for a while, and we actually rolled credits on that. And that's like a game I might record a Too Long Didn't Listen on it at some point, because I would like to start doing more of that.
Yeah.
It's kind of a should play or can play. I don't know. It's very playable. I think if you like the Souls-like genre, especially the Neo games, it's very much in that vein. It's by Team Ninja, so it's the same team that makes the Neo games. So it has some of the same problems. Overall, I think it's a pretty great game. It has some really nice quality of life stuff. I like the fact the parry system in that game is it's tied to dodging. So if you dodge at the correct moment, instead of just having like an active parry or whatever, it's if you dodge at the the critical moment, you sort of open up the enemies for counters.
Okay.
And there's something about that just feels, I think, a little bit better than, you know what I'm saying, where it's you're doing a lot of dodging anyways, and so
Right. Yeah.
it kind of it feels a lot more accessible than, again, some of the parry systems and the timing, where it's like you're dodging anyways. So it's just like if you dodge at the right time, then that I thought that was pretty cool. I liked it.
Yeah.
It's
nice.
It's a 7, maybe an 8.
Okay.
Low 8, high 7s kind of, territory. It's very playable. I think if you like those types of games, it's I do have a couple quibbles with like in the last 3 or 4 fights. There's a couple of boss battles that I just felt like were like, if you're going to have airborne enemies and there's no real way to like get at them, like when they're, like, I don't always like that, especially when they don't give you, like, there aren't mechanics in the fight to help you sort of like, I don't know. If you're landlocked and there's no real mechanics in the fight to like bring your enemy to the ground, it just feels a little like,
Gotcha. Okay.
like, it's just like, you have to kind of wait till they get close enough. And it's, I didn't care for those parts.
Sure.
Like I said, there were a couple of those fights, but yeah. So we did roll credits on Wo Long, so taking the -1, but like you, and I imagine it's probably from the same patron, I received a care package with some magic cards and a video game in it. Unlike you, I did not get Final Fantasy VII Intergrade because I already own it on PS5. Instead, I got Dragon Quest VII Reimagined with a fancy little steelbook.
Nice.
So, and a very nice note. That may or may not have stirred up some dust in the area, caused some allergies to flare up, kind of thing. But yeah. So I beat a game, and then I get this, I get this package.
Yep.
And it's like, enjoy the +1. And I'm like,
okay, yeah, you got one of those too, a sticky note.
Enjoy the +1. It's like, thanks, pal. So yeah. So, and at some point in time, I do very much want to like try and carve out some time for that this year. But I also want to play X-Blade Chronicles or Xenoblade Chronicles 3. So
yeah, you do.
And I have my locked and loaded list, and we have patron games. And so I am going to be a very busy boy, just when it comes to this stuff anyway. So if I can squeeze it in this year, I definitely would like to. But if not, there's always next year. But yeah, that one goes straight to the backlog. So
love it.
Yeah, that's, I mean, not really playing much of anything. Like I said, a little bit of Snap, not much in the way of Destiny. We're kind of, I have been playing some BioShock Infinite, but I haven't made any progress. Like, I mean, I made some, like, but like that and Link's Awakening are sort of like the 2 games that I've been focusing on, and I just really haven't made meaningful progress on either one of those.
Gotcha.
Because I'm the worst. So, but so my beatdown score is still at 0. And if you're listening to or watching us for the first time and you're saying, hey, what is this beatdown score that you guys are talking about? Well, one, welcome to the show. Glad to have you here. But the beatdown is a meta that we run all year long. And you can jump in at any time if you want, like if this sounds interesting to you. But the point is to encourage you to play the games that you already own and discourage you from just sort of, acquiring, building your backlog all willy-nilly with little to no consequence, for the size of it. So you score negative points by beating the games you already own and by playing games. And you take points for buying and, getting for acquiring more games.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit more nuance to that, but not a ton. So if that sounds interesting to you, feel free to, DM us, email us, get a hold of us, jump in our Discord. We've got the rules posted in there. We can get you the rules, whatever. And if not, your mileage may vary. Other things that might interest you, if you are new to this, and again, welcome. But we, like so many other podcasts out there, we have a Patreon, and in some ways you could look at it as a tip jar. I think we, in a lot of ways, it better serves as a way to partner with us as we sort of try to build out this thing, a resource for the church to engage with video games wisely and well. And so if that sounds cool, if you like what you've heard so far, for as little as $1 a month, and there's no real, we don't have tiers or anything like that. It's we're sort of, it's sort of give what you will, but for as little as $1 a month, you can partner with us and help us there. But it's also, early and uncut access to each and every episode. There's there's a patron exclusive podcast called The Bro Hang, where, we talk about a variety of things. Sometimes it's, we talked about poop and farts earlier. Sometimes it is us just cutting up and sort of like making each other giggle like juvenile little boys. Other times it's us tackling, headier and heavier content. So yeah, it's a mixed bag. And, if you kind of, again, if you like what you're getting here, you might enjoy that as well. In addition to those things, patrons get access to our recording calendar. Like, they can see what the topics we're going to be talking about. We talked about patron picks. As a patron, you can nominate a game for us to play, and then we vote on those, and we take some of those and we make sure that we prioritize and play those to provide coverage and content. So yeah, it's and we like them. We like when people give us money. It's a cool thing to do. But yeah, if any of that sounds interesting, cool. We'd love to have you. And if you can't, you know what you can do? You can do the sub, you can do the sharing, you can do the rating and the reviewing, because those things go a long ways. So yeah. But yeah, all that being said, lastly, but surely not leastly, we are proud members of the Playwell Network alongside our friends Paul Lytle, aka the Techno Funk Boy, Wesley Ray, the Henshin Dad himself, Nicholas Porch, aka Porcho, the Wonder from Down Under, and the most recent addition to the Playwell Network is our friend Mark Erickson from Quick Play. We love these guys. They all sort of make content exploring what it means to play well. And again, yeah, we think you ought to check some of their stuff out. So here's a word from one of them.
LRT Gates is a podcast about my upcoming heroic fantasy, tabletop role-playing, and novel project. As we have the Kickstarter this spring and work begins for the full game and novel that goes with it, I'm going to be podcasting my thoughts about game design, about adventure, about storytelling, and the ideas that are going into the game and the ideas that inspired me to write in it in the first place. We'll also have some real gameplay and stories from the world of LRT. LRT Gates is available wherever you get podcasts.
And we're back. So tonight we're going to be, hey everybody. We used to have a top 100 list, and we got rid of it because it was too big and it was kind of boring. And
it didn't have specific criteria. So we are creating.
It did have criteria. It was whatever
Not every
we wanted
game
to,
had the same. Yes.
It was whatever we wanted to put wherever, and it was like, it was a little haphazard, but anyways, we had sort of decided last year to just sort of abandon that. And actually we're just going to build out a different top 100, and it's going to be 10 lists of 10. And so in the spirit of that, like you did a top 10 list, I did a top 10 list, we did an episode on that. We also sort of thought it would be fun to have a community top 10 list. And so we, within our Discord, within our Patreon, we sort of reached out and we just said, hey, if you would like to contribute to this community top 10 list, give us your ranked top 10 list so that we can sort of conduct a little bit of an experiment. We have received that data. We have, you used the word collated early, and I really appreciated that. And then you used coagulated, which I did not appreciate so much. But we have collected that data. We have processed it, and we have come up with a community top 10 list. Now, there were a few games that were repeats. And so one of the only rules of like the top 10s is that there are no repeats. And so, and we had talked about there were 3 games that were potentially going to be in the top 10. Well, 2 games that would have been in the top 10, but then so it's 3 games that would have been in the contention, but because they are actually on our lists, they cannot be part of the community's top 10.
That's right.
Collection.
They're ineligible.
That was Chrono Trigger. That was Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. All 3 of those were sort of, and there were a few others like Shadow of the Colossus showed up, Hades showed up. I'm sure that if I went all the way through it, we'd probably find at least one more. So
Mega Man X was
Mega
in
Man
there as
X.
well.
Okay. So like that stuff would have been disqualified.
But look, you guys have really good taste. Okay.
Yeah.
I get it. And there's a reason why. In fact, Chrono Trigger would have been like, if not the top spot, it was second, after, again, like you said, kind of processing the data. But sorry, you guys can't have that. That one's on my list.
Yeah. And we had, we had 140 submissions, but like 140
14
games.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit more than that because we had.
That's right. Because doubles and triples and all that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So it was a pretty good turnout. But yeah, this will kind of be a fun list, I think, to
walk
get
through. So are we going from bottom to top? Or
I think we should go from bottom to top. And let me just 1, 2, 3,
all right.
4, 5, 6, 7,
We've got
8.
I can start us off with number 10 then.
Yeah.
Number 10 in the top 10, the community top 10 games of all time is Batman Arkham City. Arkham City. Now, I have played through this game. It's been quite a while. I played through it on Wii U back in the day. And I enjoyed the game. Now, what's interesting to me is there's another game that is I will say of the same genre as this one. And so the people who listen to this podcast tend to like these types of games, which is pretty cool. I recall it being a pretty good game as well. Arkham City is the only one that I've played through in the series. I know there's also Arkham Asylum, there's Arkham Knight, Arkham Origins as well. But City's the only one that I've played.
Yeah. I haven't played City. I did play some of Asylum.
Haven't?
No,
okay.
I played some Asylum, and I liked it, but that's sort of one of those things I've been meaning to go back and sort of play through again. So maybe this will, at some point in time, though, this will provide some incentive to go back and sort of like maybe take a look at sort of those games. But yeah, I think that's pretty cool. That I like the fact that, and this list, I've got to be, this is pretty interesting. Yeah. Now there's definitely one on here we're going to have a little bit of a conversation about, because at some point in time, it's probably going to get yanked off there. But
sure.
But yeah. So that was number 10. Number 9, and this is something that I'm just, we have talked about this franchise as a general role in the past, but it's a Pokemon Silver from Gen 2. And that is what slots in at number 9 for the community list. And I guess, cool. I don't know.
Well, funny enough is that I recently played through Heart Gold, which is a remake of the
Gold.
Gen 2. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. And I know some people said silver in particular. Other people just said silver and gold, which is why we have that Gen 2 moniker on there. I wanted to count both of those, not as separate games, but since the games are largely the same, yes, there are differences between all the Pokemon that you can get within each game, but generally you're playing the same game. And I will say I understand why this game in particular is so highly regarded. I have a soft spot for Gen 1, even though I understand it's old and the mechanics don't hold up. But Gen 2, there's a lot more to this game, and not to mention all the post-game content. So I think it is an admirable choice, especially within the Pokemon games themselves. Now, I'm a fan of Arceus myself, but I totally get, especially if you played this as a kid, why Gen 2 holds such a special place in your heart. So it makes sense. Pokemon's popular. Gen 2 is a great pick. So Pokemon Gen 2 at number 9 on our community list. It's pretty good. That's pretty good. Next up at number 8, we have Super Mario RPG.
Yeah.
This one is chef's kiss to me. We mentioned this one a little bit on the last episode when we talked about Sea of Stars. This is one that I did grow up with on the Super Nintendo. I remember it was probably one of my very first RPGs that I ever played as well, because it's like, why is Mario taking turns to hit? What is going on here? Oh, well, young Josh, it's in the name of the game, Super Mario RPG. I love the just wacky, goofy tone that this game has. I love even the traversal is great, how you're able to run around and jump on things. There's a Power Rangers homage in this game. The different characters you get, Mallow and Gino, even Princess Peach smacking enemies with a frying pan is hilarious. You team up with Bowser.
Yeah.
There is so much in this game that I love, and I haven't played it in years, but man, I have very fond memories. Love this game. I probably need to pick up the remake and play through it, or at least definitely make my kids play through it. But
yeah, this is
game.
this is one of those things, like, I emulated Super Mario RPG back in the day. Okay. I would, and I think what's kind of fun is like, because part of it is like, and we've been talking about sort of recording too long didn't listen content for the top 10s, behind the scenes a little bit. But it's like also, at some point in time, these will probably need to have either episodes or at the very least, too long didn't listens recorded about them as well. So I think this is kind of like fun that it kind of gives us a little bit of fodder here. And I think Super Mario RPG, I remembered really enjoying it. It's like you said, it kind of, when we were talking about Sea of Stars, we talked about how the fact, like, it kind of wanted to tap into some of that humor, but it just kind of didn't land it. And I think like humor in video, I think humor is really hard to land well as a general rule. I think humor in video games tends to be, it's too easy to fall into a ditch on either side, where it's like, it's a little too cerebral and it's not accessible enough, or it's a little too like sort of like base and kind of like, poop and farts, or, cruder. And I think Super Mario RPG, like, I do remember, is really cute. It was really funny. It kind of, and it felt different and kind of cool. And I just remember, like, sort of the reason I got turned on to it is like, and I liked Mario games, but like it Square Enix, or Enix at the time, right? Or Square Soft.
Yep.
Did this with them. And I always thought that was like really what put it on my radar. So I think
music is great too. I remember there's a hidden boss that's a reference to Final Fantasy also. Man, so much about this game is so good. And the timed hits as well. The timed attacks.
Well, and something, I was talking to Parker at one point in time about this, and he said one of the things that he loves about the Paper Mario series, and because Paper Mario is the spiritual successor to Super Mario RPG, but is that the damage, like, you know, in a regular turn-based RPG, like the damage is like, you know, you max out at 9,999, and the Super Mario and Paper Mario games, Super Mario RPG, Paper Mario games actually keeps damage really small. Like, and I think I like that too. Like, you know, don't get me wrong. I like the, you know, the big epic, like, you know, 99999, you know, ad infinitum kind of stuff. But also, like, there's something kind of cozy about the fact that, like, it kind of, again, it feels like scoped appropriately, even in that sort of design language. So, yeah, I like that. I like that being on here as well.
The last thing I'll mention too is that each of the face buttons did something different in battle before the Persona series kind of took that, you know, with the super stylish things. This one too, I believe A is attack and B is block, and Y might be use an item. I don't remember. But anyways, okay, I'm done.
Yeah,
Mario RPG is good.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like that call. Next one, and this is the one that at some point in time we're probably going to have to yank. At which point in time, everything will get moved up, and you know, we actually, you know, I was just thinking we probably ought to start a document with all of the different top 10s on them.
Yes,
I ought to put that. We should have done that when we did our top 10s, but we're not very smart. Come on.
We'll just keep it vague ideas rather than concrete.
Well, it's even tonight when we were talking about it, and we were like, "Oh yeah," because we knew that we were gonna. I had to like go find my notebook that I had written down my top 10 in it, and I was like, "Oh, we probably." Anyways, but it's Nier Automata, and this is we sort of at some point in time we've talked about wanting to do sort of like two of the lists that I think that are pretty much just locked in is going to be a games as art kind of list, and then the big dumb fun list. And so Nier Automata is probably going to get snagged for the games as art list. But for now, you know, it's sitting here. And I think like it's one of those things that this game very easily probably could have worked its way onto either one of our lists at any given time. Because it's pretty great. Ultimately, like neither one of us likes what it has to say at the very end, but sort of the whole trip is just so interesting, and it's kind of like it's this weird juxtaposition of minimalism and maximalism, where there's sort of a barrenness that is utilized. Like there's so many like interesting and masterful tweaks about Nier, Automata.
Yes.
Ugh, the worst. It's just the worst word. Because you want to say like automobile, so automata,
right?
But it's automata. And I know it's automata. But yeah, because we just talked about this. But I think there's just so many, like Yoko Taro does so many interesting things. I think like it sort of raised some controversy, but even like the fact that in game you can buy certain trophies. You can buy trophies at a certain point. Like, so it's like, you know, I remember at one point in time, there was a content creator who's kind of like grousing about this and said like, you know, like if somebody buys the trophies in game, there should almost be like an asterisk beside their platinum or something like that. I was like, that's a little pedantic and silly, but I just like, even there's like, you know, Yoko Taro is just, he's very interesting. He's very bizarre. But there is sort of a method behind his madness. And this game is just like the soundtrack, like the gameplay, all of it. It's just,
oh my goodness, so good.
It's a total package. And even though foundationally, I think where the game lands a lot of like is like ends is pretty disappointing. The commitment to the bit, and I'm saying bit not in that, but the commitment to it and the sort of like, you know, just really like it's, we did a whole episode on it at some point in time. Like, this is like one of those things that like a TLDL for this needs to be sort of like probably pretty imminent. We probably ought to,
Okay.
we probably ought to start drafting lists of like things we need to go back and
Sure.
do. But yeah.
Sure. Yeah, but it's one for sure. I think so. The creator behind this, you've mentioned him, Yoko Taro. He is one of those people that I think if he wasn't so brilliant, if he couldn't actually communicate his vision, he would be absolutely insufferable to me. Like I would just be annoyed by him.
Yeah.
Except that he is actually able to convey something masterful.
Mm-hmm.
And frankly, I don't think I've played any of his other games fully. I played Drakengard back when I was a kid, and I didn't finish that game because it is a very flawed game.
Mm-hmm.
So I did not finish that, but that game's related to this one too.
Yeah, all of his games, like the Drakengard games and the Nier games, they exist within the same sort of universe, so to speak.
Yeah. But like you said, his commitment to his vision and what he wants to say with this and the way that he does it, because this game is not what it seems at first. But in addition to that, even mechanically, it changes genres multiple times throughout the game. I say that. I mean, there are moments where the genre changes. I'll put it that way. Because by and large, you're playing one style of game through most of the game. But there are moments where that changes.
Yeah, it kind of it does do some like flipping around.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Which are just really, really cool stuff. I don't like even though I think the artwork is really good, I don't like the character outfits and things like that. They're all robots, but they're scantily not all of them. A few of them are scantily clad women.
No, they're all robots. Everybody is a robot.
Right. I'm just saying they're not all scantily clad women. There are also men as well, but
yeah, and some of the women aren't scantily clad.
Right. Yeah.
But even the men are wearing the weird like little pantsuit shorts combo thing.
Yeah, or they're shirtless, but again, all robots. Anyways, yeah, there's lots to say about this. You mentioned the soundtrack. Soundtrack is fantastic. One of the best soundtracks in video games.
Yeah.
It's so good. And so, man, this is quite a game. And like you said, I don't agree with how it ends, but it is a very philosophical game, and it sees it all the way through, even when you don't see where it's going. This man.
What I think what kind of like just boggles me about this is like I just sort of like it sort of gets like the stand up and like the gif where the guy just stands up and just starts clapping during like it kind of gets one of those for me. But it's like it acknowledges it's the pointlessness of its perspective, right? But then it goes kind of like just and that's kind of what's so dissatisfying about it. But it just, to me, it is so wild that so many people, I just feel like that it is ironic to me that there are so many people who just love this game, even though it kind of looks at them and says like, everything you're doing right now is absolutely pointless.
Yeah.
It's so weird. It's just, yeah.
So much more to be said, but yes, number 7 on the community top 10. Totally agree with this one. It is it is one of the greats, even if it's not great, because what it communicates is great, but it does it in such a way. It invites you in as being a video game. So you are you not only have a front row seat, but you are a player in the events of the game. So it is very poignant.
It's like if you ever read any Camus or Sartre, right? And it's kind of like, it's like what they have to say is kind of like, I don't want to say abhorrent. I mean, even though it is, but it's like, but you can recognize the brilliance and the mastery.
Yep.
In that. And so it's like one of those things where it's like,
The way that it has you close to a number of different characters who take different philosophical understandings and come to different philosophical conclusions and carry those out to their logical ends. And so being able to see that and participate in that is wonderful.
Yeah.
So anyways, so much more to say, but love it. So Nier Automata is number 7. Number 6, this is not a philosophical game, although I suppose you can wax poetic about it.
Mm-hmm.
This one I've actually never touched. It's Stardew Valley.
Mm-hmm.
I like Harvest Moon, Story of Seasons. I like these types of games. I never got around to Stardew Valley. I believe if/when I ever do play this game, I will get hooked by it because it sounds like the best version of Harvest Moon, Story of Seasons, that style of game. And the fact that it was one guy's vision, the fact that he constantly updates the game. I mean, I've heard nothing but good things about this game. And so I am glad that it is here on this list. It deserves high praise. But I have not, somewhat intentionally, I have never played this game just because I know I'm going to get hooked. That does not preclude me from ever playing the game because it's not an MMO. But it does, I just know that it will be a commitment whenever I do finally get around to playing it. So I'm glad it's here because I've heard nothing but good things.
Yeah, it's I saw that on the list and I was like, oh, that's, it's a game that, like, similar to you, I have just actively avoided. I have enough problems with games like just gobbling up giant amounts of my time that I need this, like I need a hole in my head. I too, I love Harvest Moon. I'm sure that Stardew Valley would probably just suck me in, and yeah. So,
I can share a little story. My Harvest Moon story is that I played some Harvest Moon on Super Nintendo. No, that was just through emulator. I never actually played the physical cartridge. Played some Harvest Moon on emulator, didn't finish it, but really enjoyed it. Played some Harvest Moon Back to Nature on PlayStation 1. Never finished it, a little too slow. But I remember getting Harvest Moon GB on Game Boy on a cartridge. I loved that thing. And I maxed out the amount of money that I could get within the second year. Like, I was a year and a half into the game, and you should have seen my farm. It's like covered in as many places as you could put vegetables. It was covered in vegetables, and I maxed out the amount of money that I could get within a year and a half. And I'm like, this was way too easy. Like, I really liked the game, but I finished it before I finished it, before the time ran out. I was just like, oh, I've done all the things. Like, this is so when I'm saying that I know I would love Stardew Valley, I mean, I know I would love the game.
Yeah. So. No, that's yeah. My favorite story to tell about Harvest Moon is I too emulated it, the Super Nintendo version, but then I bought the N64 version, and I was obsessed with it. And I had a roommate at the time who was also decided to start playing it as well. And I was obsessed with this game, and he was just kind of like playing it very casually. And I could not figure out how to get, because like part of it is like you need to get married, right? I could not figure out how to get married in the game. And he just was like, oh yeah, I got married. Like, and I just, it kind of like completely soured. I was just like, I'm done. Like, yeah, like be gone. So that always kind of makes me like,
nice. I did end up purchasing it on the virtual console on Wii U, on the Wii U virtual console. I did end up purchasing the Super Nintendo version. I don't think I ever actually got to the end though.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I'm sure I could fire it up and see if I did, but anyways, sorry.
Yeah. Moving along here, next game on the list here, I guess that'd be our number 6 spot is Final Fantasy X.
That would be 5.
Oh, is this 5?
Stardew Valley was 6.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't count. Well,
You're
and
fine.
It also
you're fine.
yeah. But yeah. So yeah, Final Fantasy X. That's like fine, I guess. I don't know. This is I know that there are people who love Final Fantasy X, and I've heard like defenses for it, and there are things about it. Like it's a game that I want to go back to and replay. I just remember not loving it at the time. This is actually like, I think 10 was probably sort of like the beginning of like that, and 8 I think were sort of like really the beginning of the end for my sort of obsession with Final Fantasy. And it's not that it's even a bad game. It's just like when I played it years ago, I didn't really like the cast that much. Like it's got that Nomura slop design with like a billion belts and weird asymmetric, like sort of like clothing. I don't know. I've heard it's really good. So maybe someday I'll go back. And I mean, I bought they did like the PS4 remasters, a couple years ago more than a couple years ago. But I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I'm glad people like it. I've heard that it's somebody's favorite game. Couple people's favorite game. Wow. Looking. So
yeah. I don't want to be too over. There are many jokes that I can make. Okay. That's what I'll say. There's a lot that I could say, if I wanted to be mean. Oh yeah, this is a game for guys who have daddy issues. It's a Final Fantasy game for guys with dad issues.
You're not,
but I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there.
You just did.
No, I'm not gonna.
You just did. You just did.
I think mechanically, this is a really good game. Like, I really like the battle system, how you can switch out characters in the middle of a fight. The sphere grid. I liked that. And when I played it the re-released version.
Yeah.
So I know it's the better,
that's the
quality
optimized
of life.
version.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So I could be talking out of my butt, or I understand that it's a different version than original, and so there are issues with the original version. Totally get that. But in terms of mechanics, in terms of battles, like, it is just fun. I really enjoyed that part of the game. It's everything else about the game that sours me on it, not to the level of Final Fantasy VIII. Okay, I actively hate Final Fantasy VIII. Okay, so I'm not there with 10.
I'm a little bit revisionist on 8 in the sense that, like, I think it's interesting. I just think it's not very good.
8 is the game. What is it? Michael Jordan, I think he's the guy who has the meme that is like, and I took that personally. 8 is the game that I took personally, where at the end of I beat the game and my save file had like 79 hours on it, and I'm like, I feel like I wasted 79 hours of my life playing this game. So 8 is the one that I took personally. 10 is not there. 10 is not there for me. It is not one that I even regret playing. But it is one that I feel like it got into such like weird esoteric sci-fi gobbledygook to tell just a very odd story, which I understand some people will say, no, you just didn't get it. No, it is actually really deep. No. Okay. But it also dropped the ball in so many different ways. Like you said, the characters, I don't like most of the cast. Auron is awesome.
Auron is awesome. Here's the thing: is I think a lot of people want to make it deeper than it actually is, and it's just like, it's just not. Like, I'm not saying it's bad or anything like that. It's not. It's like the thing is, like, this is the one where I've like, this is sort of where my indifference towards Final Fantasy started, I guess, is like where, and I think indifference in some ways is even worse than like outright hatred, where it's like, I'm just like,
okay,
I don't care what you guys are doing here. Like,
no,
like,
So, anyways, yeah, I should stop rambling. I get why people really like this game, and I do think it does a lot of things really well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not one of my favorite Final Fantasies. Yeah. It also doesn't feel very Final Fantasy to me. So there's that too.
Moving on to something that also is like could have been your favorite Final Fantasy, but does not feel very Final Fantasy. It's kind of fun because this was a Final Fantasy that almost was.
Yeah. Number 4 is Xenogears. And you're right. I guess it really could have been. Now, I have never played Xenogears. I own it physically. Mm-hmm. I own it. I have ripped it as well, and I have it on my PlayStation 1 mini console thingy as well.
Okay.
I have it on my Vita. I've bought it digitally. I can play this game. I have never gotten around to playing this game. I've heard that this is one of the best games of all time. I love the games that have come from this game, aka the Xenoblade series, which I've heard is sort of a retelling, sort of, kind of. Oh man, I hold it in high regard. Well, here's the thing. It's daunting to me. It's 60, 80 hour JRPG, and I'm a little afraid of it. That I've heard goes kind of crazy. But here's the other thing, is that the people who love this game also love Evangelion. I am not one of those people that loves Evangelion, to say the least.
The overlap is the giant robots and the existential angst.
Right. But there's also they're both unfinished, sort of, except that Evangelion has been finished 6 times, and which one's the real one?
Refinished.
And is getting another refinishing. Like, okay.
I listened to a fairly recent episode of State of the Arc where they sort of talk about, like, and I would just, in some ways, I would just deeply and profoundly disagree with their sort of position on this. Like, but they're basically making the argument that I think the episode is that video games do religion better than.
Oh yeah. I just listened to that one too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And they talk pretty extensively about Xenogears and just the Xeno games. And what was pretty interesting is that Xenogears was kind of like the game that sort of actually launched them down that path, like that they're on, where they do like the really deep symbolic analysis. They read a lot on the different philosophies and everything. And so for that game, they sort of, what they recognize, or what they sort of, one of the things they share is that, like, it's deeply rooted in sort of Gnosticism, and a lot of the storytelling is rooted in sort of like the Gnostic Gospels, right? And so, and this is actually, and again, this is State of the Arc said, is I think this is, and I would agree with their sort of like, this is where like the like your party fights God, you have to kill God, sort of like trope in JRPGs comes from. And I do think that is in Xenogears. Like, and it's like you said, it's not a finished game, because like you get like to a certain point, which I think was probably supposed to be close to about halfway, maybe a little bit further. And then it just, like a cutscene that basically just gives you a text lore dump kind of thing goes on. It's pretty horrendous. It's so like, it's so heartbreaking. Because like, I think the game that's there is really pretty masterful and everything. And it was actually pitched as a potential Final Fantasy VII, right? Just, for the lore, but it's a game that I think we actually do need to play. We do need to talk about. And I think one of the things that they point out,
I'm open to it,
is that because this is rooted in Gnosticism, the God that you're fighting, and I think this is the difference between maybe like Xenogears and everything that sort of follows after it, is that the God that you are fighting is a false God. It is basically the Gnostic demiurge, where like Gnosticism teaches that, I forget what they call it, but there's like the demiurge, or Jehovah, which is really problematic, was jealous of the true God, and so sought to subvert creation. And the true God is this like spirit being. And again, I forget what they call it, but anyways, so yeah, there's that. Which is interesting. I think at the very least, Xenogears, I think that's a game that we probably ought to cover at some point in time. Yeah. So yeah.
It's also, wasn't it like part 5 of like an 8-part epic? You know, something like that. I mean, there's so
Xenogears,
much about it.
I don't know.
I believe they were starting that he wanted to make this whole epic, and this, I believe it was part 5, but I don't remember if there was supposed to be 7
he kind of like started like he pulled like sort of a Star Wars kind of thing.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. No, that does sound vaguely familiar. Like the deep lore. I have forgotten some of the deep lore here.
I don't even know how I know this because I've literally never played the game. So,
well, it's just like we came up in that era, man. And Xenogears was like the game that like, it was a game that we all talked about. I mean, and it's like, even if we didn't play it, like we all knew somebody who had, and it was like,
and it was like one of their favorite games. Yeah. They had actually beaten it. So anyways, number 4 is Xenogears. So that's pretty cool.
Next on the line here is actually another PS1, PS2 era sort of classic, iconic game here.
That's right. And that is Metal Gear Solid number 3. The very first one. So we have a few of these, within the list of games that we compiled, but Metal Gear Solid is the one that floated to the top here. I have played through this game. I've only played through the first 2 games, and I enjoyed it. So I get it. I had a friend in high school who was obsessed with it. Like he would just play through the game over and over and over and over again. And the game does reward you for that. So you got, extra items and different kinds of guns and I think the bandana or something like that. That's like infinite ammo. I don't know. I don't recall. It's a good game. It's a fun game. I'm not one, like I played it when I was older. So I think I kind of missed the boat in terms of the impact that it had on me. But I recognize that it is a good game. It's fun.
It's
Metal Gear Solid.
It's one of those, and I think it's important in the sense that like this is really kind of like a bit of a breakout moment for Hideo Kojima, and he sort of introduces a lot of that cinematic sort of delivery that he is known for at this point in time. A lot of the weirdness, a lot of his like obsession with pop culture works itself out into this. That would be a good one. I've tried to go back and play this because, like, this is full disclosure. I don't think I ever beat Metal Gear Solid, the original one. It's like one of those things that, like, I've played it multiple times. Don't know that I've ever just sort of rolled credits on it because, like, it wasn't the type of game that I was into at the time, and it didn't really capture me the way that it did, some of our contemporaries, like. I think it's kind of like if you could transpose 45-year-old Nate's sensibilities into 16-year-old Nate's body, like this game might have made a lot more sense to me.
If you could do that using nanomachines. Yeah, it would make sense.
Yeah. 100%. And it's sort of like, it's like I said, it does sort of introduce a lot of like it introduces a lot of Kojima isms, it's sort of, it's like, it puts him on display, it puts him on the map. So I like seeing it. I like seeing it there. I like that. Like, I think that's pretty cool.
Very cinematic game as well, which kind of kicked that off. There weren't too many games doing that.
No, I think it was really the first in any significant way. So, and that's kind of why it's so important. I do think, well, maybe someday we'll have a conversation. I don't know that it has helped video games in some ways, because I think in some ways the Kojima's desire to sort of like make movies, he sort of like shoehorned that into video games.
Mhm.
And I think that there's like a branching path where like storytelling becomes almost a little stunted because of its obsession with sort of chasing down sort of like that cynicism. I don't know if even cynicism is a word, but
well, when he has 45 plus minute cutscenes, you've hit the point where, I don't know if your storytelling is really done very well through the video game as much as you just want to
tell the story, like, and that's fine. But it is kind of like one of those things where it's like, and I'm playing BioShock Infinite, and it's just like so much of the storytelling is just done through playing the game.
Yep.
That it's kind of like
Yeah.
I'm not here to like whatever.
But, and to be clear, Solid is not, the first one is not that way. It is not. It does not. The cutscenes are not that long. They are not that gratuitously long. But it is the start of that. So cool.
So moving along here, number 2 on our list, Super Mario World.
That's right.
And
Super
you know
Mario
what?
World.
I can pretty confidently say that this one will be just fine there, and it is in absolutely no danger of being plucked up for any other list at any given point in time, because the superior Mario, Super Mario Brothers 3, will go on a list.
On other lists.
A better list, a superior list for a superior game. I said what I said.
Super Mario World, I love the game. I played it a ton as a kid. There is something about it, and I've talked about it on the podcast before. There's something about the way Mario looks. There's something about the music in this one that's a little off to me. It just doesn't feel as Mario to me. That said, I also love the game. So I'm not, even though there's like just this strangeness to it, I still think it's a fantastic game. I've still played a ton of it. I've never completed it totally, but I have played through so much of it so many times, because we did have the actually, I take that back. I was gonna say we had the All Stars pack, but not the one that had World on it. It was just Mario Brothers 1, 2, and 3. But we had the cartridge of Super Mario World. It is one that I would like to go back and replay, and I would love to do that. I know my son Ollie has played through a chunk of this game, but not too much of it. So that would be fun to play through it again with him, going through those ghost houses, maybe getting to a couple levels of the star levels or something, the radical and tubular and stuff like that. So it's a great game. It deserves lots of praise for just being a fantastic platforming Mario game. Like you've said, it is not my favorite. Mario 3 wins out.
Oh no, I didn't say favorite.
I do think it's a great game.
It's inferior.
You said
to the best Mario game of all time.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, but
people are allowed to be wrong, Josh.
I can also say that is largely my opinion and be fine with it. I don't know.
I don't let people be wrong. I'm like, people are allowed to be wrong.
They're both great games. So
sure, but one's better, objectively, factually. No, sort of all joking aside, this is one of the, like, it's a pretty great game. I'm just gonna stick by my guns and say I said what I said. Super Mario Brothers 3 is better. It belongs on a better list, because it is the better game. But
so it's only number 2.
Yeah, it's only number 2. It is not even the greatest game on this list, let alone the greatest game of all time. But so number 1 on the community top 10 list, and this is actually kind of a surprise, but a bit of a pleasant one. And so it's like there's a little bit of like rhyming here, a little bit of like symmetry. We started out with Batman Arkham City, and we're ending with Marvel Spider-Man 2018.
That's right.
Which is pretty interesting to me. I love Marvel Spider-Man. I think it's one of the truly great PlayStation exclusives for the most part. I recognize it's on PC now as well. But I also sort of lament the fact that it does seem that like this is sort of the first step in tying Sony, I think, a little more closely to the Marvel video game universe than I would like.
Okay.
Like there's a rumored Venom game. There's a Wolverine game that's, I think, coming out this year. There was a leak from Insomniac that said that they've got a bit of a roadmap to be making Marvel games. And the licensing fees for these games cannot be cheap. I think,
yeah.
We know for a fact that they're not cheap. Again, those Insomniac leaks. So all that being said, I love this game. I think one of the things is like, it is such a triumph of like movement. Swinging through the city as Spider-Man is so cool. You just, it feels good. Like it's you kind of like enter a bit of a flow state. I love this game. I just stem to stern. I do. Like I said, I'm not mad that it's number one on the community list. I think that's like very cool. It's a great game. So
I agree. It's a great game. You brought up the traversal in the game, and it is unique in that not very many games have you swinging around the cities. I understand. Yes, Spider-Man games do. Yes, you're right. But outside of that, I don't know, Attack on Titan games might have you do something like that. I don't know. I don't care. But this one, like you said, it does it so well. What were you going to say?
I think that's part of the appeal of playing as Spider-Man is like, that's like, I sort of, I've gone on, I've gone on record saying that like grappling hooks rule, and they make games better. And this is kind of like case in point, where it's like, your
main method of traversal is grappling hooks through your hands. Yeah.
Just like, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
Like it's so much fun, and it's such a cool, and like really when you get it and you kind of like, you're just kind of like in that zone, just yanking yourself around and running up the sides of walls and stuff. Like it's such a cool flow. So
there are things that I could nitpick about the game.
I think the story's I think it's good, but it is a little rote, a little sort of like,
I think overall it's pretty easy as well. I feel like you're pretty overpowered, and there's tons of stuff that you can, the upgrading trees and stuff like that. However, I say that you can nitpick it. The experience of playing the game, like, no, all that stuff kind of falls by the wayside. It is just fun. I remember too, when I played through this, I'm not one for Ubisoft games, but you pull up the map and you see all the little icons everywhere. Oh, let's just travel to that next icon because I love swinging around and it's right there. Let me go over there. Okay, I've got this little tiny little mission thing to do right now. I need to find this backpack, right? Something like that.
There were backpacks, yep.
Yeah. I need to help this person. There's, someone's robbing a bank over here. Like the moment to moment experience of just playing the game, it was just fun. And so, it's not like, to me, it's not the greatest game of all time, but my goodness, I enjoyed myself. It's fun. It is a lot of fun. And I think it's a great game. I do think, well, again, this is a nitpick, but like, okay, they made a second one. They made a Miles Morales. It's a little like, I don't really care to play much more of those games because I feel like I kind of got my fill, but that has nothing to do, that's also, again, just like a little nitpick that like none of that matters when I boot up the game and play it. So. It's a great game, and I agree. It is surprising that it's number one on the list, but it is pretty fun that because it has like this one and Batman are very similar not in tone, but in the way, in kind of mechanics and things like that, especially as you fight. So that they do feel similar. You know, you're going around a city, you're trying to stop crime.
I think
superhero
though,
games.
That tone is actually pretty critical in the sense because like the Arkham games, and again, I've only played some of Asylum. It felt more of like a stealth type game, and while Spider-Man did have like stealth sequences, like you're the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, so you're just kind of like zipping around and like, you know, stopping crimes and stuff like that. You aren't like skulking in the shadows a lot. Now there are like sequences where it is better like to be stealthy. But like Batman's, you know, and you know, Peter's whole thing is like people are afraid of him and he's trying to like destigmatize himself. Whereas the Bat is like, oh no, be afraid. Be very afraid.
Yeah. Tell your friends about me.
Yeah. It's like, let them know I'm here. Kind of thing. So yeah. But it is kind of like fun that like those two games sandwich the list. But yeah, let's just run down through the list real quick here. At number 10, just to recap, we have Batman Arkham City.
Number 9 is Pokemon Gen 2.
8 is Super Mario RPG.
7 is Nier Automata.
6 is Stardew Valley.
5 is Final Fantasy X.
4 is Xenogears.
3 is Metal Gear Solid.
2 is Super Mario World.
And 1 is Marvel's Spider-Man in 2018. I think that's a pretty darn good list.
Yeah.
I had no hand in putting it together, but I do think it's a pretty good list.
I mean, we collated the data and we did eliminate the overlaps.
Yes, so that's true.
And that'll be a fun one to sort of like, I think, you know, sort of every couple of years, maybe like rotate this out or sort of, you know, check again or whatever, you know.
Out of all of our top 10 lists, this is the one that's going to change the most. You know, I don't know if it's going to be yearly or whatnot, but as we receive, you know, more people's top 10 lists, that this could shift and change. You know, people's personal top 10 lists can shift and change as well. So that's another aspect to it. So I would say, if you did not participate this year, shoot us your list and we'll, you know, add that into the pot, at least for the next time we take a look at it. You know, it'll be fun to look back on it as well. So actually, why not just plug that now? We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear your opinions on your top 10 games and things like that. There's tons of ways you can reach out to us all over the internet, and those ways you can find them at linktree.com/the backlog breakdown as well. So we'd love to hear your list.
Well, since we are sort of landing this plane, Josh, you know, maybe we ought to sort of just kind of like sort of dip into it and do some, hold on. I hit a button that I didn't mean to.
Oh no.
I
guess we won't be able to shout anyone out anymore.
No, but let's do some shout outs here. I've got one here.
Okay.
Why does it keep doing that? Because I'm hitting the wrong thing. Oh my goodness. I'm so dumb. I was like, I wanted to just give a little bit of a shout out here to the Backlog Breakdowns League of Mediocre Brotato Chaps. You know, we've got some there's a good bit of trash talking going on in there.
Okay.
And boy, yeah, I'm just kind of going back. Some of it is not very nice. But yeah, I you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to shout out Sojourner. Okay. And this might be a little divisive, but I think he picked up Marathon. I'm going to make sure. Actually, no. But he brought up the fact that Marathon is at a 75 now. And it's like, and if he picked up Marathon, like I'm gonna say, you go, dude, because I picked it up in the Dear Critics League, and sometimes you got to want things to succeed, and so like, good on you, man. Yeah, Sojourner, you're a real one for like not being a toxic weenie and hating things unreasonably. Yeah. Like that is kind of an interesting thing about him. Like Isaac is just like, he does this thing where like he plays like bad games, and all this other stuff. But like he just like he's not ashamed isn't, but it's just like he's not afraid to like just tackle things and just sort of like actually let the experiences speak for themselves, which I find really cool. And so yeah, I want to just like shout him out a little bit because like I said, yeah, I'm pretty sure that he picked up Marathon in the League of Potato Chaps, and I was like, I thought that was cool because I want that game to succeed. I want Bungie to do well. It's not for me. Like, I'm not sure that I'm ever going to play like a semi-sweaty extraction shooter. Like, I just don't know if that's for me. But also, like, I'm glad the game's good. Like, cool. I'm glad somebody made a good thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Nice.
So, yeah. Sojourner, you do you, boo. Good job.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I want to shout out, and this is actually earlier on in the episode, we talked about care packages that we received. And I intentionally did not share the name of the person because I wanted to shout out Wesley Ray, the Henshin dad himself, because how can I not, for sending me a bunch of cool stuff? Like that is just super cool. So shout outs to you, sir, for just being the coolest. I don't have favorite patrons, but if I did, you can finish the rest of that sentence for me. So
it's you.
Wes, you're the man.
A lot.
Well, I mean, I was talking to Wes, not talking to you, but I guess you finished that sentence too. But anyways, Wes, you're the man. Thank you.
Yeah.
Shout outs to you, sir.
Yeah. Wesley, he got me, and he keeps telling me, I ordered this by accident. I don't believe you, Wes.
Yeah.
I appreciate, if it was an accident, I totally appreciate it, dude. That's pretty sick, bro. But yeah. And if you guys are like, shout me out, what do I have to do to get a shout out? Be cool.
I'm just saying, if you send me a game in the mail, you will probably receive a shout out.
You can buy our love. You can buy our approval.
Oh my goodness.
No,
I am not even recommending that. I'm just saying
we are not advocating for that.
That will probably happen.
Unless it's a bad game. Like if you send me Lord of the Ring Gollum, at that point you will get a stand down.
Yeah.
Go sit in the corner and think about what you've done kind of moment.
Yeah. Has anyone made a bean baking simulator? Because that would be kind of funny.
What?
Just baking beans, That's all you're doing. And just making baked beans. Occasionally stirring a pot. I'm just saying there are lots of dumb simulators out there.
Oh.
Bean baking simulator.
There's that
2026.
That I Am Mayonnaise.
A game about baking a bean.
Yeah.
Probably
anyway. Oh my.
I think it's late and
derailed. But yeah. That being said, I think we've done the things.
Mm-hmm.
And until next time, what should they do, Josh?
Guys, keep beating down your backlogs, sending in your favorite games, and we'll keep breaking down the benefits. Oh, that's not the right one. That's not the right one!
I was trying to hold that.
Yeah, sorry.